on, and it laid me out. It really did. Even after the loss, I had to laugh and go, all right, that's pretty creative. Very, very well done. And he goes, these new Ben and Woods billboards are going to hit hard. Yeah, 100%. Give it back, dude, because I'd be giving it to you guys for sure. And I think my overarching, I know you're going to defend the choke here, Benny, and I let me say this.
That's an interesting way to phrase that.
The word choke, right? You have to look at it, all right, from my perspective.
He's going to combat it, not defend
Combat it, right. Not defend the choke, right. I can't come in here every October and talk about the Dodgers choking and then not say the exact same about the Padres. That would make me a massive hypocrite because the Dodgers have choked since we started covering the team. They did win the short season championship, right? In every single other one, they choked. They absolutely choked. They choked to us. They choked to the Diamondbacks. I can't come in here this morning say...
Because they were the big favorites every single time. We already talked last week how the Padres weren't the favorites in this series. Can you choke a series?
They were after game
well, yeah,
3.
When you're up 2-1, you definitely are in the advantageous spot. And they did not come through, and clearly they're going to have to reconcile that and live with that. Historically, outside of San Diego, they're not going to record this is one of the great chokes in baseball history. They're going to look at a team that was not favored going into the series. They lost 2 games in a row. I mean, they weren't up 3. They weren't up 3-0 in a best of 7 series. They weren't up 2-0 in the series. They lost the first game.
You were up 6-1. You were up 6-1 in game 3,
which you won,
and then you never scored again. And then you lost the series. You were up 6-1 in game 3 in the third inning, and you never scored again. Ever. You got 2 hits in the final game against the guy that you had torched every time you'd seen him. I don't know how else to put it. I hate it.
Look at it.
I just don't think it fits the definition of what traditionally you would call it choke.
It's absurd.
You have to be up by at least a
No, you
couple
don't.
of games.
Glasses off.
You have to be the favorite.
Step back.
Step away from the microphone. Step back for a second.
Take a deep breath.
Did the Tigers choke the series against the Guardians? I don't think so.
Did they go 2 for 28?
They fell apart. They were up 2-1. I don't think they choked that series. The Guardians won their division, had home field advantage. They had not scored in 2 days, and all of a sudden they come back and win the series. And I don't think that was a choke by the Tigers.
Even though it was the exact they had their ace on the mound. They had their ace on the mound.
Well, if that's
shut
the case,
them out 2 games in a row.
If that's the case, then yes, the Padres choked.
Yeah.
I don't think the Tigers choked, so I can't really say the Padres choked. That's not fair to say, the Tigers didn't choke. Only the Padres choked.
Mike Wood said the Tigers are a way different story. 100%, Mike. 100%. 100%. Our expectations, and we sat in here and told everybody
different story in that
they were not even supposed to be in the playoffs, right? I mean, we weren't at the beginning of the year, but they made so many moves and added so many pieces, and they came together so well, and they hit so well that, yeah, man, they absolutely got down to it. They had a 6-1 lead in the third inning of Game 3, and they never scored again after giving up a grand slam, man.
I mean, they were wild card teams that did not have home field advantage in the second round series.
Yep.
Yeah, the Padres won 7 more games than the Tigers did, over 162. It's not as cut and dried as you think, though. I mean, the Tigers were as hot as any team in baseball going into the playoffs. Padres were pretty hot, too, in the second half of the season.
I think they would tell you they choked.
Okay, then if the Tigers choked, then the Padres choked. I don't think the Tigers choked. So I feel like it's unfair of me to then say the Padres choked.
It's definitely, I don't think it's unfair at all. I hate it. I mean, I hate it as much as I hate to say it. I think it absolutely was. When you had a chance to knock out a division rival like that, and you had them on the ropes, and they had done some really, really shady, untoward things toward you. My whole thing of like, oh, thanks a lot, Dave. You just kicked the Hornets' nest. The Hornets died. The Hornets never buzzed again. They really didn't. They just didn't buzz. They did not get mad. They did not handle business.
To me, the Dodgers the last couple of years, getting a bye into the division series and winning 1 game total. That's a choke. Padres won a playoff series this year.
Sure.
They advanced. They moved forward. They won 2 games in the next series. I don't know. To me, that doesn't really fit the definition.
The fact that they did
of
not
choking in the playoffs.
The fact that they did not score at all and got 2 hits in the last game, whatever it was, the pressure was too much. They pressed too much. All of it. At the end of the day, you didn't get the job done, and it doesn't. Like, again.
Now, if they had
previous series doesn't matter.
If they had gone out and
No.
committed a bunch of errors and gave up a ton of unearned runs and looked sloppy in the field, I'd go,
They didn't
yeah,
hit.
the pressure looks like it's too much for them.
They didn't hit. They didn't hit a guy that they had
Other than
hit.
at the plate, I mean, I just didn't see a team that looked like they were.
Like, I don't feel like in 2024 or 2022, excuse me, the NLCS, I don't feel like they choked against
The Phillies?
They got beat 3 games in a row that weekend in Philadelphia. It sucked. It was painful to watch. There
We
were
had a-
Padres
a
had
ton of
Padres-
questionable.
the Padres had the home field advantage in that series.
We blew a
though.
4-0 lead. We had no pitching, and Manaea and Clev and those guys could not get it. And we spotted them 4 runs. That was a choke as well. To that game.
That game.
I
I don't think the series was a choke. You know, the questionable, the Suarez, the Harper home run,
Right.
and all of that. It gave us a lot to question and talk about. I didn't view it. I didn't feel like they choked.
Last year
I
was
feel
a
like
choke.
this was
Last year was a massive choke job.
Well, the whole
massive.
season,
The
yeah.
whole season. Last year was a massive choke job.
I would say last year was more of a choke than even this playoff.
Now
run.
listen, I think it's, for me at least, I think it's okay to say that we choked. I do. What I don't think it's okay to say is that we quit. That's where I kind of draw the line. This team did not quit. They didn't quit. They pressed. They did things that they hadn't done. That doesn't scream I'm quitting. You know, kicking the ball around, doing stuff like that, not taking extra bases, being lazy. That's quitting. This team never quit, man. They didn't quit for 162 plus the postseason. I never saw quit out of this team. I saw punting from time to time, which you have to do in a 162 game season. You have to. You gotta take your lumps. Nobody's gonna go 162-0 ever. It's never gonna happen. I don't think they quit. I will defend that to the death. Not the death, but I'll defend it to very loud
Did the
words.
offense get? Did they lose confidence? though?
Yes.
I mean,
Somehow.
is that essentially what we're looking at here? That the offense, which was so consistent, lost some of the faith that they had.
Next
Whatever
Gen
the
Break
Dodgers
says
did.
they quit for 24 innings. They did not quit. They didn't quit. There's no quitting. They're not standing up there staring at strike threes. You know what I mean? They didn't quit. The offense did not quit. They choked. Which one's better? I mean, it's 6-1, half dozen of the other. They didn't get it done.
It's weird though. I would not classify that group
As quitters.
or chokers. I mean, you look at these guys. They're not the sort of players that seem to shrink at big moments. I mean, all year long.
Right. They answered
when they
the
were
bell.
late in close situations, best in baseball, runners in scoring position, best in baseball. They were as clutch as any team, any really Padres team we've ever seen in history. Did they forget how to be clutch? I mean, what changed over just 2 days? 2 days is such a small sample size over the course of an entire baseball season. This team should be remembered as one of the most clutch Padres teams in the history of clutch Padres teams.
I think-
and now we're trying to
Except for when it
redefine
mattered.
them
Except for when it mattered.
as like the biggest choking team that we've ever seen. Because
That-
is there any other Padres team that you'd ever say choked? Is this the first Padres team that has ever choked?
No, I just said they choked.
Well, that's true.
In
In the playoffs,
And they choked
though.
last year, and they choked the year before
Was
that.
there any other playoff run where you felt like they choked? I thought maybe 2006 in the division series they choked. I thought they were the big favorites over the Cardinals, and that was kind of a choke.
That's a choke. It was a choke. It happens. It happens to the best of them, man. It really does. It happens to the best of them. It doesn't make sense. We can't put our finger on it. I don't buy this line of BS either. The Dodgers are professionals. The Padres are not professionals. The Dodgers literally rub their wieners together after they hit a home run. The Kike Hernandez grabbed his third base coach's dong as he ran around the bases. Okay, they do weird little dances. We've seen their little celebration in the dugout. Let's settle down on the Dodgers are stodgy old white professionals, and the Padres are dancing peacocks.
The Dodgers are weird.
Let's keep that. Let's keep that stuff like smarten up
Yeah.
about that for sure. Like they literally rub the heads of their wieners together after they hit a home run.
They're a very weird team in my mind. I mean, they're good.
They're really good.
Really good. A lot
They
of
get
talented
a lot
players.
of. They get a
but they're-
lot. They get a pass. You know, hey, listen again.
Shohei's
hits,
weird.
Shohei hits a homer. He rips his bat towards the dugout. No problem with it. You're celebrating. But don't then tell me that they are all a bunch of Adam Rosaleses that hit a home run and put their head down and sprint around the base paths. They hit a bleeding single. They get on first. They dance. They shake their hips. They're no different. They're no different than what the Padres do. None. There's zero difference in the teams. Jack Flaherty screams, "Sit down, mother effer." I didn't see Joe Musgrove doing it. I didn't see any of the other guys doing it. It happens. I have no problem with it. But don't paint them with some professional brush that the Padres don't get. They played their asses off. They played their hearts out until they did it. Until they didn't.
Well, I think generally from what I've seen, more people agree with you guys than me. I can't.
It's hard to rationalize.
In my mind,
I know. It's hard.
Remember this season as a big choke.
Not the season.
For
the season was fantastic. The season was so good. It was inspiring. It was all of the things that we said it was. It was brilliant. There was a no-hitter in there. There was all kinds of great stuff, to witness. It was brilliant. Brilliant. It was an unfinished piece of art, man. It was the Mona Lisa without the hair. You forgot to add the hair, and so now it just looks really weird and incomplete.
I guess ultimately, you have to choke. In my mind, you have to make mistakes. Did the Padres make mistakes, or did they just not hit? Hitting is the hardest thing to do in sports.
It absolutely is, but nobody was better at it than them.
Did the Dodgers just do something right, or did the Padres actually do something wrong in the last couple of games? I don't know that we'll ever know the answer to that question,
know.
Whether it really was more of the Dodgers pitching or more of the Padres hitting. The Dodgers probably don't know the answer to that. It's that the weird thing about baseball that you can't ever exactly know what it is that causes success versus failure on a 1 or 2 game basis. Over a whole season, you look at the trends and you go, yeah, I can see why this team succeeded or failed. But in a short sample size, you don't know. I mean, maybe every team that would have faced the Dodgers the last 2 days would have got shut out.
Well, I mean,
and would have had no chance.
The Mets just did, which made me feel a little bit better.
The Mets certainly did. They
made me feel a little bit better.
They did get 3 hits as opposed to 2. So if you want to give Mets credit for getting 1 more hit over 9 innings.
No, I mean, and listen, Dylan Cease is Kodai Senga. Is what it is. I mean, both of them came out and just said, "Here you go. Take every bit of momentum." Dylan Cease broke my heart with his starts in the playoffs. And you got him for more than you got him. You acquired him for more than you got from him in the postseason. And I think it's a good learning experience for guys like Jackson Merrill, Dylan Cease, those guys that will be back next year. And hopefully they get better. And but again, man, when you don't hit, which was your forte, anytime your forte goes away, it's hard to not look at it and go, man, you guys completely choked it away. And you had the lead. You just needed 1. And you got beat by, what was the final of the last game? It was 3-0?
2-0.
2-0. 2 solo shots. Couldn't scratch it out, man. So very, very tough to stomach. I know everyone's in a lot of pain still, which is okay. It's such a long season. It's a long season for us. It's a long season for you guys. I'm glad we could be there for you through the whole way, but we're not going anywhere, certainly.